Well, the first thing I want to do is just take an overview of the board. Now, I know there's some glare, so every once in a while I'll try to rotate the camera as needed to try and get rid of glare, so I apologize for that. But for the scenario setup, I've got on the southern end here Major Tom. He's got with him a 254 squad, and then he's got two of these 144 squads. You couldn't see the numbers on that, they're a little far off, but that's the first American stack. Then the second American stack, which is right in the glare, we've got Sergeant Hill. He's got two 144 squads with him, a 254, and then I think this was the 30 cal machine gun in bipod mode. That way they can walk with it. And I gave that to the 254 squad. I figured that would be real good use of firepower. Now the scenario is that the Americans have landed, and these are Pathfinder units with the airborne. And what they have to do is move up here to this hex, which is on map board 13L5, which has an event, handy dandy. And they got to place one of these Eureka units, which is like a tracking unit for airborne troops, I guess like a strobe light or something, or a radio unit. And so we've got to get a American unit there. Has to be one of these original 144 units. Those are the Pathfinders. And then if they can spin an impulse unit in there with a good order leader, they win. Easier said than done, I have found. I've tried that, and I did get Americans up there, but that doesn't mean I was doing it correctly. There's another event on the other side of the building that we'll see what happens when that triggers. As far as the opponents then today, the Germans have brought Lieutenant Koch. He's got a 054 unit, which I guess that's a half squad, and then two kind of regular infantry squads there. They're 164s. And yeah, that's in bipod mode, so he's got an MG42. So he's got a little bit of firepower to him. And I'm going to leave him in bipod mode for a while. And then finally, the other German unit, you have Sergeant Bowman. He's got preempt, and I'm going to try to remember to use that. It basically was a skill that says once your opponent declares an action or activates for that impulse and declares an action, he gets to do an action first, preempt. So that's actually kind of cool. So then he's got a 054 half squad and then two 164 squads, and then one of those squads has an MG42 with a bipod as well. So they're packing a lot of firepower on these here squads. So we'll go ahead and put that stack. Now the premise is we're landing the invasion, nighttime, and the German units are on patrol. So when I activate a German unit, they're actually going to roll a die 6, and depending on what they roll will determine the path that they're taking. So the German units are wandering around. The American player kind of gets to decide how to move around that to try and avoid the patrols. The scenario also says it's because it's nighttime, there's nighttime rules. Now I'm going to say this. I've read through a little bit of the 5.0 rules. I have the 4.1 rule book that came with the system. So that's where I've got most of my knowledge. So I don't know all the differences between 5.0 and 4.1. So as far as nighttime, the basic understanding is you're limited to two hexes as far as what you can see, unless somebody fires, and then you can see that hex just fine if it's outside that too. Also, there, if you use like a star shell, like your leaders can call for a star shell that can light up an area. So I got some of those basic rules. Again, I don't know if it's real different in 5.0. Rule difference I know between the two is like with smoke. If you place smoke with version 5, if you successfully place smoke, you can still move. In 4.1, if you place smoke, they're ops complete. So this gives you an opportunity to place smoke and then use it for what it was for, and that's to move under cover. I thought that was actually a really nice touch. There's also another rule difference I read as far as line of sight. So if you're shooting between two buildings, there's like just I'd have to look, I don't know it off the top of my head, but it's like a 2 firepower penalty, or it's like degrading or something like that. It's like before, I guess that would count as block because it's blocking terrain on either side. But if you're shooting down like the hex spine between two buildings, then they're saying that doesn't block the line of sight anymore. It just kind of degrades your ability to effectively fire at like a unit on the other side there. So again, a couple rules I caught that were different, but there's probably more. But that's the basic setup. What we're going to do, if I remember right, the Americans have initiative. So I'm just going to take a quick look at the module rules real fast. Scenario length 7 turns. Americans have initiative. Okay, I think that's okay. All right, so we're going to start moving units. So when you activate a German unit, well, we got to do an American first. So let's take a moment, move down to a stack, and then move it. I've decided to move Sergeant Hill's section first. Almost a small platoon, I guess. He's got 3 squads. We're going to double move, and always try and remember the little things you can do. The double move is going to add like 2 move factors. Since their machine gun is in bipod mode, they can move. So we're just going to try to run up here. So we're going to move 1. Open is basically 1, and then 2 right there. Now, bocage. I always got to have the chart here with me because I never quite remember exactly the cost of like bocage. Bocage costs 4. Oh man, and then it says that's the cost to cross the hex side. Then you also got to move into, pay the cost to move in. Yeah, there's no getting around that. I actually don't think I needed a double move because once they get to the bocage, they're kind of stuck because it's 4 and that's going to cost 1 to get into clear. I don't think I have enough movement points to get over that wall right away. So we reach the bocage and then we're stuck. All right, well now we're going to decide which German unit to activate. We're going to start by moving Lieutenant Koch down here. And the scenario says roll a die. This I didn't think needs to see the combat dice tray. So I'm just going to roll. And they rolled lost the die. They rolled a 3. It says if they roll a 3, which is odd number, they must take the most direct route towards hex 13L5. For me, probably the most direct would be kind of straight up, simply because I'm sure they could cut through the woods, but it just seems to me more efficient just to spend their movement points. Now it says because they're in the patrol they don't use double move or anything like that. They're just walking around. So they come off the road there, they move 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to mark them with a moved. And then we'll go ahead and do something with the other American unit. What I've decided to do with Major Tom's group is I'm actually, instead of trying to go over and through the bocage, we're going to go around and we're going to go through that light building, which is just 2 movement points. I think that'd be probably better. And if they double move, then that I think will help get them around the bocage, kind of maybe move their way up between them. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That to me seems legit. So we're going to go ahead and put a moved marker on them. And then we're going to go ahead and roll for the other German unit. And then we'll go up and watch them move. They rolled even. All right, so I'm going to go up there and then we'll start moving them towards their hex. All right, it says that if they roll even, they got to move towards 16H4, which is like dead center of the bottom map. So they're just going to take a nice casual stroll this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. No need to go over walls or anything like that. We're just casually taking a nice patrol stroll outside in the dark as anti-aircraft fire goes on and rumors of paratroopers are landing. We're just casually strolling. And that would be the end of a turn, turn 1. Easy. Move some stuff, nothing to shoot, nobody can see each other, lots of blocking terrain on the board. Now that means because it's nighttime again, they won't see each other until they get within that magical 2 hexes of one another, or if someone plays a star shell. But I don't think the Americans are going to really worry about star shells because I'm trying to be sneaky and stealthy. But we'll see how it plays out. So we'll go ahead and get ready for the next turn. Now, when starting the turn, I did skip over some things. Like I didn't discuss all the phases. I already knew for the rally phase that American unit had the initiative. I didn't have to worry about healing or rallying, or I didn't want to swap support weapons, things like that. I just went right to operations phase. But going forward, I'll probably just mention that so that we're going through the steps, but I probably won't need to make a lot of changes. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. Now, because we are at the end of the phase, I'm going to remove my admin marker, so I'm taking all the moved off. No need for those, and you can't quite see the whole map at this point here, but I've taken all the moved markers off. There's no smoke to flip or anything like that. We didn't have to do any spotting, no fire for effect markers, things of that nature. So we're good. We're going to come back and start turn 2. All right, we are now going to start turn 2. So first thing we're doing is checking for initiative. Green is the Americans. I need a smaller dice tray so you can see the dice with one roll. All right, Americans retain the initiative. Time to advance the turn tracker, turn 2. The American side is still up. That means I gotta pick a squad. Well, let's take a look at the board. I decided to go with Sergeant Hill's. I'm just going to call it a platoon. When you start having several squads, that's a platoon. So I'm going to move Sergeant Hill's platoon over the bocage, which is 4 to cross, and then 1 to move. That would be if I use double movement, or even just the rule says you can move 1 as long as it's like not into prohibited terrain or something like that. So the bocage really does suck a lot of movement out of people. However, he's now in a position where in future turns he could easily move through woods, up through the clear, but he still has a lot of blocking terrain. It protects him from being spotted by German units. So we'll go ahead now and see what our German units are going to do. But I'm going to pick one first before I roll. What I'm going to do is continue moving. I'm going to move Sergeant Koch first. So I'm just going to roll for him. He rolled odd, and I think I forgot. I forget where even is going and odd is going. I almost should photocopy these missions and pull them out so I don't have to keep opening the book. But if you roll, what did I say? I roll a 5. If you roll odd, they move towards 13L5. All right, that's where he was going to begin with, and he's got 4 movement points. Now, in the book, Event A can be triggered by either Germans or Americans, and you still have to be within 2 hexes to see it. Now, event number B, on the other hand, well, here, you can't even see the events I'm looking at. Just as we're getting closer to them, I can be up to 5 hexes of line of sight to see this event. All right, but this one here, we still got to get kind of close. So that's where Lieutenant Koch is going right now. He's just about to unlock that event. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to stop right there. The rules, I will say this though, and this is kind of a decision by me. I'm going to leave that move because he's not quite done. It doesn't say like to move like all your move points and then unlock it. It just says like once you get to that 2, unlock it. Let me see here. Yeah, I just double checked again. And I think maybe this is something y'all can clarify for me. What I've done is as soon as I get to where I could trigger the event, I stop movement and then I trigger the event. And that's what I'm going to do here. I don't know, maybe that's clarified in Rules 5.0. I probably should have looked that up, but it just wasn't made very clear to me. But anyway, we are now within 2 hexes there of that event. So we're going to read that event to you. Spoilers, if you don't want to hear all the paragraphs, this might not be the one for you to watch. But paragraph 1, remove marker A. I will move that in a second. I just need a reminder where something might pop up. It says, you see movement near a clump of trees behind the church. Continuing, you hear a loud click-clack and freeze in place. If you are playing the American side, proceed to paragraph 3. Otherwise, continue reading. American troopers, paratroopers, the invasion has begun. Place a 1-4-4 Pathfinder half squad in 13L5, which is that there spot, and then roll a die 6. If the result is 1 through 2, the German unit that triggered the event must end its impulse, and the American half squad must opportunity fire at them. If the result is 4 through 6, the Germans catch the inattentive Americans by surprise. The Germans must stop and fire. Even though the Germans are not assault move capable on the half squad, this fire is subject to night combat modifiers, but not the -2 assault move modifier. Alright, great. So I happen to have here a 1-4-4, so we'll take that out. These guys have landed. Now, so based on that reading, I'm going to roll. If I get a 1 or 2, they're done. But if I get a 3, 4, 5, 6, they're going to take a shot here, and then we'll see how that goes. So let's roll a die. I'll let you all watch. And just to answer, yes, I did change out the dice. These are from the other Heroes of Normandy game by Devil Pit Games. They just had a really cool thematic dice, so I was like, hey, why don't I just grab up my fancy German die and then my fancy American die. Sounded good. So 4. Looks like the Germans are going to fire. Alright, so nighttime combat isn't too bad. So as long as we're within that 2 hexes, we're pretty good, which we are. And then again, we don't suffer the penalty for assault move. That's just a special rule there. So the leader, he'll add his +1 to firepower because of his leadership bonus. These guys, half of 0 is 0, so like I really don't think they're going to contribute a bonus. So I'll just put them right there. Half of 1 is a 0.5. Half of another 1 is a 0.5. So I'd be adding 1. Actually, I think if that's the primary, I think they're going to get their full inherent firepower, and then they get the inherent firepower of the MG42. I think they got there. So that's 3. This would be 3.5, and then if we round at the end, all bonuses up. So that's going to be 4. They're going to add 4 to their die roll, and then 5 for Lieutenant Koch. Now they're not adjacent. Nobody's moving. So I believe that's pretty much it, right? So we're going to have 5. Let's roll some dice. All right, so we got a firepower of 5, and we're going to add a 1. What a terrible roll. So we roll 1. That's going to give us a total firepower of 6. Now what I've got here, if I can find a 6, I probably could get away with like a 12-sided, but just because sometimes I forget, they've got 6 there on their firepower. Now the defense. Alright, the American trooper squad there, those Pathfinders are in light woods. That's +1. That's it. They're just going to add +1 to their defense roll. So actually they're kind of hurting. They need to move into that building if possible. So the American unit to tie or beat this are going to have to roll a 5 or a 6. They roll a 6 just to make sure. Yeah, that's the one. So that's the 6. So actually they come away with a total of 7. That beats, miraculously, the attack by the Germans. Now, for this, because the Germans did fire, I'm not going to mark them with moved. I'm going to mark them with fired because they did ultimately end up shooting. And they did catch that poor American group there by surprise. I think what I'll do is I'll actually just go ahead and activate that unit. I might as well, and just have them return fire. It doesn't matter if they did it now or later, they're right there, and I think that's what they would do. Only because this whole platoon, that whole section there is out in the open. They don't have any defense. So this could work very well for the American player. So I think that's what we'll do. And he's going to add 1 here to his firepower, so let's give it a shot. All right, so we've got 1 plus 2, a 3. Horrible, horrible, horrible. But I'm going to make my little die 20 a 3. And then the German defense, again, they've got no terrain modifier, so we'll just see what happens to them. And they roll a 1. Well then, that means they are going to have to make some checks. But there's a difference of 2, so I've actually got another little die. Just little markers to help me remember what differences are. Alright, so I've got 2, so that means when they make their morale checks, they're going to add 2 to that. So let's open up that stack, and I'll probably just roll. I won't keep switching back and forth. Maybe. Let's see. I have a feeling that the leader will probably make his roll. He's got a morale of 7, so I'm going to roll the dice 6, add the 2. He doesn't get to subtract his leadership modifier for that, but that's important to check him first because rules say to. But then he can add his bonus as a subtraction to the die roll for the other teams to help keep them motivated. So we're going to check him first. So with that 2, that means if I roll a 6, then he will be shaken. All right, let's see how well we roll. 4, so he's fine. Here's what I'll do. I'll just put the little dice roller right there. Okay, so the next squad down has a 5 morale. So basically, my penalty is going to be 1, add 1, because the leadership modifier 1 will offset the 2 that I had by 1. So basically, I'm just going to add 1 to the roll. So 6 plus, that's a 3. So that guy, no problem. Okay, then we've got a full 1-6-4 squad. They roll a 6. So 6 plus 1 is 7. It's less than double. So if I remember, that's just going to shake him. If it was like 2, double the amount, then there would possibly be casualties. But again, we'll roll for this next squad here. This is the one with the machine gun. 5 plus 1 is 6. So again, that makes them shaken too. And that's tough because that's the squad carrying the machine gun. So, well, that's not so good. So they were surprised, came out in the open, and blammo. American Pathfinder opens up with a healthy dose of lead. Gave those Germans some lead poisoning. All right, so that was the American impulse. We got to go back and find out what our other friendly German is going to do. Okay, I'm going to roll the dice just because it's there. 5 odd. That means they're moving. I think odd was moving to 13 out of 5. I don't remember. Where's odd moving to? Oh wait, they don't have to do that anymore because now we've been engaged in combat. So the German player gets to do whatever he wants. And see, this is the part where it'd be fun to have a face-to-face opponent because it would be like, okay, where do we go? I'm going to say we're going to go basically just kind of cut around because they're just going to come running towards the sound of gunfire and try to engage. Let's see if I move the camera if you can see it. They're just going to try and swing around the mansion, if you will, and see if they can help engage that American unit. So that's what we're going to do. Now, because they're not under those rules for, artificial intelligence, if you will, they're going to double move since they got a good order leader with them. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, I am going to put a moved on them, but here is an interesting... Oh, it's not interesting. Never mind. I've got the other American unit down here. The problem is they're well beyond 2 hexes to potentially see that stack. And then, oh, you know what? I also forgot. Check this out. Let's back up just a second. So they're out of the 2 range and there's a move. But as I was moving these guys, if I move here, once I clear this spot, we're actually within range of that event marker. That's only 3 away. So we can actually trigger this event marker because it said once you get within 5. I couldn't see it here because of the walls, but once I clear here, boom, we now have sight of it. Why don't I tell you what happened? So I don't have to worry about opportunity fire anyway because those other Americans are just too far. So event marker B, oh no, that's American activation only. Okay, never mind. Never mind, we're good. So they do move here. Americans can't opportunity fire. Let's go see what the other American unit can do then. Alright, so Major Tom knows that he's got some paratroopers he needs to rescue. So he could either charge forward, blindly pretending that he didn't know Germans were there. Now if I double move, 1, 2, 3, 4. We could like hop right into melee, but the problem is I got that preempt. But they're already stacked, so they can't do anything. They're good order, or they're gotta move on them. I don't know if I want to charge it up there though and go right into melee, because he's got, you know, that guy there. I think we have the advantage on firepower actually. I don't think Major Tom has a gun. I just broke my stack here. Oh good, you can't see me. I just knocked over my stack. I was kind of looking here thinking, do I want to do just charge into melee? I don't think so. I think Major Tom is going to try and maneuver himself a little bit better. Maybe come up around, get into some woods for cover. So what we'll do is go 1, 2, 3. 4, 5. And that puts some blocking terrain. He doesn't get any cover for this bush flowers, but he will get some blocking terrain here. This guy, in my mind, will be trying to round the corner to shoot at these other Americans, so he's not going to actually veer off course. But that's the end of the turn. That's the end of the turn there. Yeah, I was going to say this German unit here will probably just continue around the house. I don't think... I mean, if I was playing a face-to-face opponent, he would probably then want to somehow set up defensively to engage here, but I'm going to pretend that they haven't seen. They don't know they're there yet. See, this is the part where the AI card system would be kind of nice to help kind of guide, like, what do you think they would do? Since I've got that perfect knowledge, I'm trying to play as if I don't know who's where. But that's the end of the turn. I'm going to go ahead and pull these admin markers off, and we'll go ahead and get ready for the next turn. Okay, we're going to roll both dice and see who goes first. Americans, they retain initiative again, which might be very handy here in about 2 seconds. Now I'm looking at the play chart, the sequence of play 2.0, so in the rally phase, which is what we just did, we just rolled for initiative, and it says you can rally heal eligible units, combine half squads into squads, and then good order, multi-man, eligible SMCs pick up support weapons. So what we'll do is we're going to do the rally first, and then based on those rally results, we might move the support weapon to a squad that can actually use it. So I'm just going to move the lieutenant there for a second. I'm going to move the dice roller. So this squad here was great. And then we have here this squad. Now they're in the open, so they don't get a -2 for being in terrain with a modifier, but they are going to get to subtract 1 from their leader. So they're going to roll 2 dice 6 for that. Where's my other fancy die that I had? I had my fancy die here somewhere. I was trying to find my fancy American die 6. It was already in the die cup. Alright, so here we go. Rally check for that squad. Subtract 1 for the leader. So 6 minus 1 is a 5, so they are no longer shaken. Lucky them. Then we'll check for the other unit. That's a 6 plus 1 is 7. Uh-oh. Minus 1. That would be a 6. They do remain shaken. However, it does say the other thing I can do is swap weapons around. I don't think, let me double check. I don't think a good or a shaken unit can do that, but let me double check. Alright, I just checked to confirm. It says good order squads can swap weapons. So shaken is not good order. So that's actually very lucky for that American unit right there, because the unit with that machine gun really needed to rally, but they didn't. So I think we're ready to go into phases. And that's actually going to be very good, lucky for the American, because he's going to be the squad we activate first, just because I do have a nice, tempting, juicy target right here in the open. And they're going to let loose. But I think it's going to be the same kind of combat results. It's a 1-4-4, so he's going to add 1 to his attack roll. So let's go ahead and check that real quick. So 1 plus, a 3. That's actually really, really horrible. That might not do much at all. Then the German unit, again, they're out in the open, so he's just gonna roll and see what happens. He rolls a 2. So I got to make damage checks again, but this time it's going to be at a difference of 1, which this might actually work really well for the Germans. That was actually kind of a poor roll for the American. But we're going to check for the leader first. I think he passes. I'm just going to roll just out of courtesy. So 5 plus 1 is 6, which is less than his morale. So he will add his, or I should say subtract his 1. So that means if I take that difference of 1 away, basically all of these guys are going to be rolling straight. So I need 6s if they're going to shake. So here we go. Oops. First unit here, the 054. They're fine. The 164. They're fine. And my shaken, not stirred unit, they're good. So in actuality, the American unit is just a little bit off the mark. So they're going to go ahead and get a fired marker here. But we tried. Now, to be fair, I'm thinking that this unit might want to move to cover and then fire. Now, they can't do assault move. Nobody here has the red boxed movement. So they can't move and fire, but they don't like being in the open. I think they're going to move to the cover. Now, that will put them behind 1 hex of degrading terrain, but that's not bad. They could still shoot quite well at that American unit in the woods. So that's what they're going to do. They decide to get the heck out of Dodge, so they move. No opportunity fire because nobody has a clear line of sight. I have some Americans down here that could be line of sight, but problem is we're outside the 2 hexes, and I think they're clipping that woods hex right next to them. So no shooting there. Alright, so what else are we going to do? Because now it pops back to the Americans. Okay, so I've got this American unit way down on the southwest side of the map. They want to get into the action. So they're going to go chasing this road here. And they're going to try and follow up. So they're going to go move over so you can see all the movement options here. So they're going to double move with this sergeant, good order sergeant. Oh, I just broke my stack. Yeah, why are you using tweezers, Eddie? Why don't you just pick them up? Well, because I found that for me and my clumsy fingers, sometimes I do better with tweezers, but you know what, with a big stack like this, where were they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, they moved just off camera. Now, you might say, but Eddie, that's in the open. But remember, I've only got, it's nighttime, so I can only see 2 hexes. So 1 hex, 2 hex. This unit here, even though they're in the open, they can't see the German unit, and the German unit can't see them. So I think we're okay. Now this would flip it over to the German side. And again, I'm still playing with the idea that they don't know these American units are here, and so they're just trying to round the corner so they can come up and take out that guy. The problem with doing that as far as the American player goes, that means I'm now going to have these 2 kind of like half platoons, basically a nice full platoon of Germans blocking my ability to get to this hex up here. Let me shift so you can see what I'm talking about. So I've got this hex up there. That I'm holding it down right now with 1 American squad, but I've got to get reinforcements up there because the Germans are coming in full force. So that's what we're going to do. This guy's going to double move. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3. Now, I'm stopping here for just a moment. I moved here. I was 2 away from the Americans, but there was this blocking hex. Still couldn't see him. So he went 1, 2, this is 3. Now, I've got enough, 4, 5, 6. I don't have enough movement points even on double move to enter that woods to initiate melee. But what I could do, since I was on double move, is 1, 2, 3, 4. I could go 5, 6 here, or 4, 5, get adjacent. I think what I'll do is actually move into the building with the Germans. And that uses about like 5 movement points. So they're going to stop their movement there. But I'm doing that because I believe that gives them a nice protected position. They aren't blocked by the rest of the building. I think they can see that hex really, really good. And they're going to bring a lot of firepower down on that poor American unit. So what that means is I've got left is Major Tom's group. Major Tom wants to get up so he can support his buddies. Now, if I move, thing is, again, with that perfect player knowledge, I'd want to move like up into this woods to provide supporting fire, because I'm going to say he knows that people are there, he just doesn't know exactly. So I don't know if he would want to necessarily expose himself, because again, I got to be within 2 to see somebody unless they open fire. Then I can shoot at them. But if it's beyond that 2 hexes, I get a -3 firepower penalty for shooting at night. So this is kind of a tough predicament for the Americans. But I'm going to do that. I'm just going to be cautious. I'm going to move Major Tom up so he's at the edge of the wood line, and what he wants to do is try to assess the situation. So that's probably a little too, I don't know, timid at this point, but I think that's probably what he would do. So we're going to go ahead and stop right there, clear the admin markers, and then get ready for turn 4. Alright, top of the turn, we're going to check for initiative. So this is the beginning of the rally phase for turn 4. Again, lucky. The Americans are lucking out. But what will they do with that initiative now that I've got a lone squad surrounded? Let's go ahead and take a look at the situation. So right now we've got a desperately outgunned squad pinned down in the woods. And we've got these 2 stacks of German units that are just waiting to get in there. And then I've got down here an American, like a half platoon coming up. And then a little further down I got another like half platoon of squads coming up. I think what we're going to do, because this guy by himself can't place a Eureka unit because he doesn't have a good order leader with him. So he's actually, check this out, he's going to move boop into the house. So whoever's with him, that sergeant that's with him is like corporal or whoever, is like, get in the house, break down the windows, I don't want to die. Because that gives him much better defense. Plus it now blocks line of sight. Because the rules say we only had to place the Eureka unit in an adjacent, like out in the open hex. I don't think I can't place it in the building. So I don't necessarily have to place it there on the woods. One thing I might want to do is sneak some American units back behind this manor and try to hide themselves. Like if I come around the backside, I might be able to block line of sight with the house in the woods and still place a Eureka unit. So many decisions, but we gotta hurry because we're on turn 4. But now it's the Germans' turn. I don't think I have enough movement points. I could probably move into melee with this guy because it's 2 movement points, I believe, for the building. So if he double moves, he can just charge right in and conduct a melee, and he could probably just wipe out those pesky meddling Americans. Same with if I use this squad over here. I don't know if they got enough movement. It's 1 for this vegetation. 1, 2, 3 for woods. 4, 5. They could double move. That's what we'll do. They're gonna move in. 1. Let me make sure brush is 1 movement point. I'm pretty sure it is. Brush flowers. Yeah, 1 movement point for leg. 2, 3 for the woods. Make sure woods is just 2. I've been known to miscount before. Yeah, so that's 3, and then 2 to move in here. So even though he's got to move, I'm moving him in, and we're going to initiate melee. I thought I had a melee marker. Melee somewhere. Now this would be one of those things where somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I know when we pop in, I'm just keeping the melee there just because I like to mark it. But it says you use the firepower. It doesn't say half firepower. It just says firepower. And then the leader adds, 1 to the roll, the leadership modifier. So what I have here, the one squad is 0 firepower. But I've got 1. Oh, you know what? I forgot I had a shaken unit in there. Shaken units can't move towards the enemy. Uh-oh, I should have had my other squad, but I already committed them. I forgot. The shaken, they can't move, so they're going to be by themselves. Whoa, that's all right. This actually was a very bad move then. We're going to back up. Let's pretend that didn't happen. I lied. They're not moving because I forgot they had a shaken unit. See, this is why I need a face-to-face opponent, because someone can remind me, hey, Eddie, wasn't there a shaken unit in there? Maybe. So instead, these guys will go running through the house. Charge! Because that's 2 moves. They don't have anybody that's shaken. He's got preempt. He's got a 054. He's got a 164. He has another 164 with a weapon. So let's do it that way. 1, 2. Now I will say this, because this guy had moved, right? He moved into the house, so he's already not good order, so he won't be able to opportunity fire. So what we'll do is just move in. Okay, that's the squad that we're using. So same thing. There's the leader with preempt. He'll add to the die roll. 0 really doesn't contribute much to the firepower. 1 firepower. 2 firepower, 3, 4 firepower, and then my squad has 1 firepower. That, I believe, if I'm good with math and fractions, is 4-to-1 odds, which really is not good for the American. That's a kill number of 4, and then we add 1 to it for the German leader there. So we'll do that real quick. So 4-to-1. Woo! Here we go. 4-to-1 odds. Got to beat a 4. Yeah, that easily overruns the American squad. Now if I reverse that, that's 1-to-3. The odds don't get much worse than the 1-to-3. So I'm going to roll on the 1-to-3 column for the Americans. So under overwhelming odds, if I roll an 11 or a 12, that American squad will wipe out all those attackers. Ooh, I saw a 5 bounce around, but yeah, that's it. I do want to point out I did make a mistake though. The 0 firepower unit, the 0 firepower squad that I had here, the rules do say, he's in here somewhere, but the rules do say that he contributes 1 firepower. He's not the one that was attached to the weapon, so let's swap that back. So he actually gets 1 firepower as far as melee goes, but then you got to subtract 1 from the kill score, the kill roll. So I still rolled well above what I needed. So actually adding his firepower just made it even better firepower results. So I think I still did good, but that's one of those little things that I forgot about, and then when I went back to check, then I was reminded. Now that does get marked with the melee, that's why the melee is there. No need to reinforce that because all the American defenders are gone, but during the admin phase, that will come off. So anyway, that was a German activation. So good job, Germany. We moved in the right group. All right, now we got to do some Americans. That's going to be down south here. Again, we want to move up. Major Tom still hasn't seen any firing to shoot, so he's still blind. So he's going to move up. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to move into that house, I think. He's going to crash through some windows, and he's going to stay right there. And then the German unit, I think what we'll do, we're going to move back, because in a way I'm thinking they want to move back to the house for defense. So they're going to move to the woods. There's no opportunity fire. Now again, being that perfect knowledge, I'm afraid to move them adjacent to the Americans here. See, right now they know they're there. Like, oh, Schneise, something, Scheisse, there's Americans. Because they're within 2. Their line of sight is blocked by that building hex, but now they've told all their friends, here's the Americans. And that's why he doesn't want to move there, because then there's adjacent firepower bonus, and if the Americans get initiative again, that could put a lot of hurt on them, so they're going to stay back. So they move, but now I've got to bring up our, I'm talking, you can't even see what I've done. Yeah, what I did was I moved the German unit here up, so they're not going to move adjacent, only because I want to keep them protected, because I'm pretty sure, yeah, this is why I need someone more smarter than me to play with me, because that might not be the best move. But we are going to come down here and move these guys up. Again, kind of the same premise. They're going to double move, because again, we need to get up here and really start fighting. I broke my stack. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm moving them up here into the open only because it's not 2 hexes for them to be spotted by any German unit. It's still dark, so they're running around under the cover of darkness. But yet that now gives me a point to launch from somewhere, do something. Let me go ahead and put a move on him. That marks the end of that turn. So we'll go ahead and pull our markers. We're all getting really close now to each other. We expect some intense up-close fights. Let's go ahead and start a new turn. We're going to check and see who gets initiative for turn 5. Oh, barely getting it, but again, Americans retain the initiative. And that's why the Germans didn't want to move into the house. Because I guarantee the American player was going to let loose. Well, German player would have let loose too, but now we got to really think about what we're doing. So now the action is really close. We could start shooting because we're within 2. I think that might be what I do. Instead of moving this unit, I'm going to take the initiative and fire. You know what? This is still actually the rally phase. Let me do something. So check this out. Oh, they're not the squad with the weapon. This here is the squad with the weapon. But they're going to go ahead and fire then. So let's see. They get a leadership modifier 2. 2 firepower. I get half for them, so they're actually going to contribute 1. So that's 3 firepower. And then leadership modifier. Okay, I'm just going to roll both dice so we get the German defensive value. So really that's going to be a bonus of 6 for the American stack, because they've got the 2 for Major Tom, the 4 for the, well, let me see, it's 2, because we got the 2, 5, 4 in there, the 2 1s, half of those added together, that's 3. That's actually 5. Then you add in Major Tom, that's going to be 5. But there's no other penalty because they're within 2, so they don't get the nighttime firing penalty because they can see the people there. Oh, but you know what though? They're not spotted. Oh, I forgot about the spotting. Even though I'm 2 away, they're in a tree. And I believe that might... Oh, that might affect spotting. Is the tree, because light woods is degrading. So if I wanted to spot, to shoot, I would have to do a spot check. Wow. We just keep adding little difficulty. So I might have actually done 1 or 2 shootings that I should not have been able to. I don't think I've really done a whole lot of... I might have shot a couple times that I forgot all about spotting. Oops. Yeah. Oh, no, I don't know. Actually, German unit was in the open for a while, so they were good. No, I think I've done okay. This is the first time I've really needed to worry about spotting. Dang, I want to spot so they can be shot, but I don't have a people that are within range. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to move this American unit up. 1, 2, 3. So we'll put move on. That's what we'll do. I'm going to put people in position to where they can do some combat. The German player, he's kind of stuck between. What is he going to do? Both of them have light machine guns. We're going to have to spot. Actually, I think I'm going to have to move these Germans adjacent to actually really do any good. We can't assault move. Oh, you know what? Instead of moving the whole stack, why don't we do the old sacrificial 054 and move them? Then the Americans, in my mind, seeing that they've got Germans coming, they're going to fire because now they're adjacent. Now they've got spotting. Yeah, we're going to play this out. We're just going to play this out. Let's have fun with it. So yeah, let's do this. We've got the 254. Oh, that's a 144. One of these is a 254, I thought. So he's going to add half because he's not the primary. 144, he adds half, so that's a 1 between the two of them. His 2 firepower, that's 4. I mean, what's 1 plus 2? That's 3. Add a major tom, that's 5. Yeah, let's do that. Let's roll both of these. Oh, it popped right out, but it was a 5. So we roll 5. Okay, so 5 plus 5 is 10. I've got me a little firepower tracker. 10 for the Americans. Then that building has plus 4 target modifier. That's great. And then what did I roll for the German player? He rolled a 1. Now that's not a damage check, so it's not a hero roll or anything like that. But he did roll a 1, plus 4 is 5. So now he's going to make that damage check roll with a plus 5 against his morale. If he rolls a 1, then we can check for a hero. Nope. So 3 plus 5 is 8, which is 3 more, but not double. So he's actually only shaken, not stirred. And we mark Major Tom with a fired. And we're going to mark this guy with a moved, because he moved, was shot, now he's stuck. Then we go back to the German player, and now they say, oh, look, someone in the building is firing. Let's shoot at them. So he's got 2 firepower for his machine gun. Oh, no, he can't. You know what? And I keep moving. Well, that's fine. I keep forgetting I got a shaken unit in here, and I keep moving him around. But I think, again, I don't think he had enough movement points to go through the brush and in here. So to be fair, he's probably still back here in the woods. I keep forgetting the shaken unit. Please forgive me. So never mind. The shaken unit won't be contributing to this. So I was so excited because the German unit was just going to say, let's shoot. Oh, they will. They're going to shoot with fewer stuff, though. So he's going to shoot with a firepower of 1. That guy doesn't add to the firepower. He adds firepower in melee. I think I've got that down, but he's not going to add firepower in shooting, but he can absorb bullets. But we do add 1 for the leader. So really, that's plus 2 to my die roll. And then the Americans have 4 defense because they're in the building. I don't think this is going to hurt the American unit that much. But let's see. Oh, wait, that's not the fancy American die. Hold on. Okay, so we had, let's see, 4 defense. That's 7. What did we say we had? 1 firepower, 2 firepower. Yeah, and I add the 3 there, the 5 to 7. So the Germans shoot, da-da-da-da-dow, but nothing happens. Americans are dug in. They're dug in deeper than an Alabama tick. Well, that leaves us with one group of Germans. Well, so here's the thing. We're gonna move this stack. No opportunity fire because they've already fired. So now the Germans say, let's move through the house. Check this out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're adjacent. And we can mark with a moved. Oh man, now we're playing the Cincinnati squeeze. I just made that up. I don't know what it is. But I'm going to say that's the end of the turn. So right now we've got some fierce fighting going on. I don't know if the Americans will be able to break away and take advantage of the chaos that's going on. We still have not had American units that were in line of sight of this event B to trigger what it is. So we're still good there. So let's go ahead and get ready for the next turn. Here comes the initiative roll. Very important roll. It's a tie, and on a tie, the previous person retains initiative. So that is 6 turns in a row that the Americans have maintained initiative. Can they take that and use that to their advantage? Here's the battle as it stands right now. We have a stack of important Germans here with the preemptive. That might come in handy. Preempt will allow the German unit to activate first. So even if I activate Major Tom to, say, fire, this preempt could allow Sergeant, whatever his name is, Bowman, I thought it was Bowman, to actually have his units activate first and possibly sour the American attack. We have a shaken unit here all by themselves. They won't be able to rally. They do not have self-rally. And before I forget again, we do have a unit over here that is shaken. So what we'll do is roll on camera as best we can. So that's 2 dice minus the 1 leadership. Can they get it? Oh, plus they're in terrain with a positive modifier. So actually it's a grand total of -3 from their morale roll. So that actually, wow, that's 7 minus 3 is 4. So that -3 was very helpful. That unit does rally. And that's good because that's a machine gun unit. Now here's the other thing that we can do, which I think some folks will do, is they're going to mount that to the tripod side so they get some extra firepower. This unit here, the American unit over here, the one with their own machine gun, they're probably going to do the same. They're going to go ahead and flip that over. Yeah, in bipod mode, didn't even have contributing firepower, but they're going to stick it out on a tripod and get a little bit of firepower, maybe help to kick some Germans out. Alright, so that would be all the things that we can do during the rally phase. Americans have the initiative. What I want to do real quick, let me read that. He's got preempt, that hero does, just so I know what it says. Preempt. Oh, it's single use. After the opponent has declared which units are going to conduct their impulse, but before the impulse is conducted, the leader and all units in his hex can conduct an impulse. All units must be eligible to conduct an impulse, not marked with fired, moved, whatnot. If a hero possesses the skill, only the hero. So I'm going to, it doesn't matter who I act with, because this guy here, he's going to shoot into Major Tom's hex. That is big deal. So even though I'm going to activate Major Tom, they're about to receive a big whooping of bullets, courtesy of Hitler's buzzsaw. Wait, I didn't flip it. I didn't flip it because I was thinking about something else. So to be fair, I'm not going to flip it now. I'm going to say, yeah, I forgot to flip. Preempt is single use, so I'm going to actually take that away. So I will be interrupting the Americans' impulse for a moment to shoot at them. But we have plus 2 for the MG42. We're going to have +1 for the inherent firepower of that squad. So we're already at 3. We add half for that squad. We're going to round up at the end fractions. So that's going to become 4 firepour. And then we add the bonus there. That's 5. I got a little marker there. 5 firepower. Now, the defense, because we're in that fancy building, that is a 4 defense that the Americans are going to add to their die rolls. Let's get some... trying to find a good spot to put that, but we won't be able to see the dice entirely in the roll. All right, so that we rolled. Germans rolled a 5. Germans took it, but that gave them a grand total of 10 on their firepower. 10. I got my little die over here for keeping track. 10. This might not work out so good as well as the Germans thought. So they got 10 firepower. Then the Germans have, or the Americans have 8 total defense. So we are going to have to make some damage checks, but it's only with a bonus of 2. We might come out okay on this. So first we're going to check for Major Tom. Major Tom's going to roll, and we're trying to get under the morale. Major Tom doesn't get to add the leadership modifier to his roll or subtract it, but he rolls a 6, which is equal to his, oh wait, I gotta add 2, so 8. In actuality then, Major Tom is shaken. Okay, we always check that first. That's important because now his leadership modifier does not apply to the rest of the rolls that we have. So now we're gonna have this here check. Let me check something. All right. Had an interruption. Okay, so now we're going to check for this squad here again. We're going to see if we can get under 6 with a +2. All right, they rolled a 6. +2 is 8. Again, that's less than double, but they do become shaken. Oh, this isn't looking. This doesn't look good for the Americans. Okay, then the 144. This is one of the Pathfinders. They rolled 3 + 2 is 5. That's less than 6, so they're still good order. Then they rolled a 6, +2 is 8, less than double, so they're shaken as well. Shaken. I'm going to put all my shaken, and he's good. I'm going to keep him up top. Oh, that's horrible. So I've activated that squad to do something, or that whole hex, but using preempt, they said, nope, not today, and they get marked with a fired, but... all I have is 1 good order. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to add the +2 for being adjacent. I think I just did their straight up firepower. I forgot to add the +2 for being adjacent, which I don't think that would have changed the results that I had here. A lot of shakens, but I don't think that would have given me the double that I needed to actually cause casualties because the dice rolls were pretty close in the first place. So I did forget to add the adjacent bonus. I'm only thinking about that now because I've got this hex that I activated, but only 1 unit could actually shoot and actually do anything, which is probably what I'll do. So he's in there. This one guy is going to be fighting for his life. I'm going to separate him out only because he's the only one that can do anything. So I'll probably mark him with a fired, but then put that on the bottom because only he fired. That's what he's going to do. So he gets no other modifiers other than the glare. So he's only got 1 firepower, no leadership modifiers, but he is going to get the adjacent, which I forgot about before. So that is +3. So he's got a bonus of 3. Dang, that's not very much. All right, let me find the 3 on my 20-sided die. Yeah, I think I'm going to get me find my 2 12-sided dice. Be easier to find. All right, let's roll both of these at the same time. Okay, now that's not too bad because now we're going to have that 3 plus the 6. That's a grand total of 9 for the American player. Then the Germans are in that they get a 4 because of the building. Plus 2 is 6. So, actually, that's good. That means that German group is going to make all those defensive dice checks. It's just that they have a +3. Wow, if I'm doing that right, what a major reversal of fortune. That one unshaken squad said, you know what? Not today. You're not taking my buddies out. So he's going to add 3 to all of these rolls. 4 plus 3 is 7, so that shakes the German leader. Unbelievable. And they now won't get to add their leadership bonus to their checks. So now we're just going to add 3 to all of these rolls and see if they do well. He rolls a 6 plus 3, so he is also shaken. Wow, major reversal here. 4, and nobody's rolled a 1 yet, so to check for a hero creation. So that's it. You know what? Even if I'm doing that wrong, to me that is a strong and really cool narrative story. That guy's in there and he's like, "You shot my friend." So he's marked. He's going to get marked with a fired. And again, I'm going to put him on the bottom of the stack because all these guys are just screaming, "Ah, I'm hurting." And because they're shaking, they can't do anything. Wow, okay. Well, that leaves us with this German squad. Well, they fired. Let's not forget to put fired on them because they fired. All right, well, this guy here is like, He does have clear line of sight because he's right down the hex to this squad. They're spotted because they fired. So they're spotted, and he's going to shoot at them. And there's no nighttime penalty because he's within 2 hexes. So this guy, he's like, you know what? We're going to take care of business. So he put his machine gun there, MG42, on the tripods. That's 3 firepower. Plus the squad's 1. I'm already at 4 firepower. I have a half. And then a 0. So actually that's 5 plus 1. That's already at 6. A 6 bonus just on that stack. Wow. He's not adjacent. No nighttime penalty or anything like that I'm aware of. So that is die roll. The Americans are going to have that 4 on the defense. So let's see what happens here. Wow, Germans rolled really good. So 6 plus the 6 they have, that's already at 12. 12 firepower. Then you subtract the 8 because I've got my die. Oh, actually, you subtract 9 because I've rolled a 5 for the American defense plus the 4 of the building. So that's a difference of 12. So we're going to have to make these morale checks again, but this time adding 3. So it's quite possible. I'm going to have to look at my little casualty chart. We might actually suffer some casualties. That could be very bad for the American player. Let's roll some 1s and generate a hero. So we're going to start here with Major Tom. Major Tom rolls 5 plus 3 is 8. So if I take my good order single man counter not a hero and I think, wouldn't he hero or okay, so hero shaken single man counter is over. He's now wounded. Okay, he gets a wounded marker. So Major Tom, leadership morale reduced, leadership range. I would say if he got wounded again or something like that, he's probably going to be eliminated at some point. No, actually it takes quite a bit to kill things. Well, let me see here. Shaken leaders cannot. Doesn't say if it's like shaken again. Casualties. If you take casualties a second time. Yeah, I think he's gonna go from shaken to wounded now. Yeah, because in the chart here it says units that are wounded again will be eliminated. If you're shaken again, you're eliminated. So I think we're okay. because he was shaken but then took a wounded. Shaken units cannot advance toward, which I messed that up. If engaged in melee, there are no eligible units, so shaken. Shaken leaders cannot rally, but shaken leaders cannot use their leadership. Yeah, I think that's the right thing. He's shaken and wounded. But if he becomes shaken again or wounded again, then he's eliminated. Because getting a casualty straight out is pretty tough. Alright, so now this American unit with 6 morale, we're adding 3. They rolled 3. It's 6, it's equal, so they just still shaken. No additional there. Here we have, this was a half squad, but they got a morale of 6. Let's see what happens to them. Well, they're eliminated because that's more than their morale. So shaken unit that's shaken again is gone. I think that's what it said here. I thought I did read that though. If a shaken unit can probably all vehicles. Shaken units cannot support. Shaken units cannot advance. Hold on. Okay, no, I was reading it wrong. So if shaken and they take that, actually he's casualties, but because he's that half squad already, that will eliminate him. So that eliminates him. That's why. So it's not that he took a second shaken, it's because he was already a casualty reduced. Now we're going to check for this half squad that fired earlier. That's a 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. And in actuality, that is double. So he actually does take casualties. But he's already a half squad. So I don't think a 144 reduces down more, because that's already a half. So both of those Pathfinder squads that we need to win are actually eliminated. Now again, I tried to explain that to the best of my understanding, so if you catch a mistake, you can let me know or clarify that for me, but I believe that's what happened. So that was very good firing on the part of Lieutenant Koch. Wow, he did good there. All right, so that leaves this guy here, Sergeant Hill. Sergeant Hill, he did flip his portable gun there into bipod mode, so that's going to be 2 firepower. 2 firepower inherent from that 254 squad. Then I had these 2 half squads, so they're going to add 1 firepower. So basically that's 3, 4 firepower, 5 firepower bonus that they're going to add. We're going to roll die and add to that. So they might not do as good against that German unit, but we'll see. And then those Germans are only in a 2 defense. So let's see here. Americans rolled 3, so they get a total of 8. Germans rolled 4, plus the 2 defensive terrain. That's going to be, what's 4 plus 2? 6. So that's actually a difference of 2 to the damage check. Well, that's not too horrible, I don't think. Oh, and the reason I'm shooting is because they were spotted, because they fired. I kind of starting to remember some of that stuff, but let me put it fired here. All right, let's do damage check. Lieutenant so-and-so first. Okay. Now, he doesn't get to add his leadership modifier to the roll, but he's adding 2. So we got 4 plus 2 is 6. That's less than his morale, so he will add that 1 to all these other groups. So 5. So that means actually I'll only be adding 1 to these rolls. So that is a 2 plus 1. That's less than morale. He's good. 6 plus 1 is 7. He is shaken. That's not the worst case. Then the guy again with the gun. 3 plus 1 is 4, so he's not. So we did end up with 1 shaken unit, but I would say the exchange of casualties there, not bad. Okay, so they're there. Wow, what a dramatic 6th turn. Well, let's move into 7 and see what I gotta do for rushing and meleeing and taking somebody out. All right, here we go. Last initiative check moving into the turn. This time the Germans take the initiative. That is lucky for them. Let's see what they're going to do with it. That turn saw a lot of potential casualties, so we're going to do some checks. Now, my wounded guy might be able to rally himself, but he's still going to be wounded. German player is actually going to check for recovery of shaken units first because they got initiative, but I'm trying to make sure I remember where all the wounded people are. So I think we got at least one shaken unit here, which is that guy. So let's just start with that one. So he's got -2 for being in defensive terrain. Let's see, -2 for defensive terrain, -1 for that. So it's basically going to be die roll -3 with 2 dice. 12 minus 3 is 9. So he is still shaken. That's the only shaken unit there. Alright. First we're going to check for the leader, because if we can get him rallied, then he can add his bonus. But same thing, he is in a defensive terrain, so it's going to be -3 or -2 to his roll. But he rolled 7. 7 minus 2 is a 5, which actually he does rally. So he will now add his, or subtract his 1 from everybody else's roll. So this unit here with a 5, 5 minus 3, or well, die roll -3. That's 11 minus 3. He is still shaken. Okay, this unit here. That is 6 minus 3, so he rallies, which is good because he's the machine gunner. And they're still shaken. And he's still shaken. They can't self-rally, so we're down here. We're going to see if Major Tom, even though he's wounded, we're going to see if Tom Hanks can rally there. So he gets -2 for being in that building. 5 plus 8, let's see, that's 8 minus 2 is 6, so Major Tom rallies. Now, I may be missing something, and I didn't look it up. But from what I remember reading, there was no penalty for being adjacent to people. In fact, you can rally while you're in combat or in melee combat. So I think we're totally cool here with this. No penalties that I saw. All right, but we're going to subtract 4 from his rally roll. So he's got 4. Oh, wait. Oh, it's the damage check that you roll for a hero. I was like, there's a 1. No hero there. So 4 minus 4, he easily... So the good news is this hex has potentially good... Oh, you know what though? Oh, it reduces his leadership range. Leadership morale -1. Oh, I may not have actually rallied him. I forgot. Leadership morale -1. And then his leadership range is limited to just the hex he's in. Oops. I'll try to remember that. Yeah, that was an oops. It's just -1 to leadership morale, so instead of -4, it would have been -3. But actually, I think with the dice rolls, it was still good. I just forgot that the wounded added that penalty to him. But he still rallied because he rolled a 4. -3 is a 1. That's still less. So I think no harm, no foul there. This, I think, is good. So now we're going to start with what I want to do, what I thought about doing is I think I can melee with this German stack. So I'm not going to deploy their gun. They're actually going to go do melee. So we're going to melee the last Americans there and push them out. This guy here, because he has a shaken unit, he can't move. And he's got a deployed machine gun already. So what he's going to do, he's actually going to go ahead and shoot again into this hex right here. Because he's got that deployed tripod, and he's going to see if he can shake or hurt somebody. That way, when this unit comes in for the melee, it will be that much easier to do. That's what we're going to do. Alright, so we've got the 3 firepower for the machine gun, +1 for him, so that's 4. And then we can add the shaken, and add that. So actually, I think the only firepower we got there is just 4, plus the 1 for him, that's 5. Firepower is still pretty good. We're going to add Now the rolls. A German player rolled a 5. So 5 and 5. That's 10. That's very, very respectable. Let's see if we can defend that. But the Americans did roll a 6. And they're in a defensive cover of 4. That gives them a 9. That gives us a 1 difference. So we might actually not be affected by that. Let me put a fired so I remember he's fired. Fire. And normally I would put that shaken on top. All right. So there we go. Yeah, let's see what happens. Now, he does have a leadership morale modifier -1. I just got to try to remember that. But he doesn't affect his own rally. But he's going to add 1 to the damage check. He rolls a 6. Add 1 is 7. I'm lucky the difference was only 1. But he again, shaken. Oh, this might not go well for the Americans. And then a 2 and 1 is 3. So at least we have 1 good order. So when we do the assault, this guy, he's not going to contribute anything, but he won't die right away unless we wipe out that multi-man counter. And being wounded sucks. Alrighty. So that stack has fired. Then the Americans would want to do something. Well, what the American is going to do with his 1 good order unit, he's going to go ahead and shoot into this adjacent German unit. If we can put some shaken on there, they won't be able to advance. So we're hoping we can do okay. Well, I'm just going to set the leader aside because he is kind of hurting. But our good buddy here has got a 2. 2 firepower. 2. Alright, well, let's see what can we add to 2. We're going to add 6. So that gives me a firepower total of 8. Lucky us going into this last turn. This is a meat grinder. But the Germans get 2 plus the 4 of the terrain that they're in. Okay. That's fine. So that's going to be, what's that, 4 plus, it's a difference of 2. So we're going to make these morale checks, or damage checks, with a +2. So what's in the stack? So let's check the leader first. Alright, leader. 6 plus 2 is 8, so the leader is shaken. Oh boy. Now we had a shaken guy. He stayed shaken. So let's see here. Oh, look. 1 plus 2 is 3. Alright, hero. Let me read about hero creation. Alright, so it says here, roll die 6. If the result is even, a hero is spawned. And let's see what happens here. Nope, no hero. Oh, man. Alright, well, that's fine. Okay, but shaken. Oh yeah, they're fine because they rolled a 1, so they don't take casualties. Alright, so let's see what happens here. Again, they got a 2. 5 plus 2 is 7, so they shake. And now is the unit with the machine gun. Oh, wow. Once again, the drama. I can't capitalize on that though, because the reason I can't capitalize on that is I got nobody that can move there. Like this whole stack now. Oh man, what an annoyance. If the leader wasn't shaken, or if I had another good order unit, I could have advanced a good order unit in here. And since everything is shaken, I mean, I could have captured that entire hex. That wouldn't have done anything for getting the victory hex here, but like that would have been cool. That would have been cool. But that's amazing. And I think I forgot to add the 2 firepower for being adjacent again. Dang it! Oh, all right. Well, you know, win some, you lose some. But I think the results are good. I'm happy with that. That entire stack has been knocked out for the impulse. Problem is, I now have this stack here to deal with. They do have a shaken unit. They don't participate in melee, but if somebody charges them, they'll stay in the hex, and if I eliminate like if all the good order units are eliminated or leave, and then, you know, there's a chance that the Shakens could still get taken out, but they're not going to contribute to combat. Why do I mention that? Because I'm going to move this American in here. It says you got to spend at least one impulse in there, and then get marked with ops complete. So I think that's probably like one turn. I think even if I take out that hex, I don't think I can really declare that a victory, because I wouldn't have been in there one impulse doing nothing except to place the Eureka marker and then get the Eureka unit and then get marked with ops complete. So I think I failed this one for the American. But we're going to go out with a bang. So I'm going to take that shaken non-participating unit and the fired marker off just to stack management for this battle. And they're going to come charging in. And because they were marked with fire, there's no opportunity to fire available from anybody. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, they can't charge, because they have a machine gun that's in bipod mode. Never mind. Never mind. The Germans take it, but we're going to see if we can cause some casualties then. So we're not adjacent, and this stack did fire, so I can see them. I don't have to spot check. So 2 firepower plus 2 for the inherent firepower of that squad. Half of that is half of that is that. So that's 1 total between those 2 squads. So this is 5 firepower plus 1 there to their total from the leader. That's 6 firepower. And then we're going to add that to the roll here. I'm just finding the 6 on my little tracker. Right, let's roll. You might not be able to see all the dice. You might be able to. Well, let's see what happens here. All right, so 4 plus 6 is 10. Okay, my 10. Then the Germans there are in 2 for the woods. Oh, there's a degrading. Forgot about 1 hex of degrading for the bush. I think I forgot that earlier too. So let's go ahead and do that now. Yeah, see, I'm catching mistakes now, but I don't think it really would have affected the outcome of what I've done. Just the 1. But anyway, the German player rolled a 2. They're in, or a 4. They're in the 2. That gives them 6. That's a differential of 3. This could cause some problems here. So we'll roll. Let me get this dice out. Let's do some damage checks. First, we're going to check the leader, because if the leader does well, he can then subtract from the damage check roll. So remember, we gotta add 3. Yep, he is shaken, so he will not be able to modify the dice rolls. Okay, so we're going to check this first shaken unit to see if they take casualties. Again, we're going to add 3. So 3 and 3 is 6. So he's shaken. He would take casualties. Now he is a 164 unit. I have a little chart over here that says a 164 unit, if it gets reduced, I roll the die 6, and that becomes a 154. Alright, so I've brought in the 154. I'm going to put him on his shaken side because he was already shaken. So we'll put him over here with the shaken. Okay, this guy here. 1. Okay, if it's an even, we create a hero. Otherwise, he is shaken. Well, he'll get shaken anyway. It's even. We make a hero. So I'm gonna draw my hero and a random skill. Not that it matters because it's the last turn. Germans won, but for completeness, I'll be right back. The hero that we drew this guy Icer, which is a 166. So heroes, I don't have all the rules for a hero down, but they're actually pretty special. I do know one. It said they don't shake. In the book, it says just ask Daryl Dixon. So that's one good thing. They don't shake. They can self-rally, and I think they can also rally people in the hex with them. But we'll worry about that later if that ever comes up. The skill I drew for him was Rocket Man, and with that, he actually gets himself a whatever Panzer Shrek that might be, RPZ B54, and it says he gets a bonus on shift column or something like that when he uses it. But again, we're not going to be here long enough to find out because we're on the end here. And he did survive, so he's not shaken. Okay, then we got that squad. Here we go. Oops, again, we're adding 3. Now, it bounced out, but it's a 3. Adding my 3, that would be shaken. So again, the tripod-mounted machine gun unit is shaken. So let's put our stack back together. He didn't participate. That stack did at one point. They're fired. And let's move that. And this is it. That's the end of the game. Mark this with fired. So we would then go through cleanup. Because even if I go through cleanup, though, just to take stuff off. But essentially that's it. I don't know what to think. I think I did catch a couple mistakes that I had. But it did create some moments of drama and tension. I think it's good. I think the more I play, obviously, the more comfortable I'll get with the rules and remember things and add rules. But overall, it's not that difficult to play. So again, if this is a game that you've been on the fence about, maybe a little bit intimidated by the complexity, don't let that bother you, quite honestly, because I really think that, just get out pieces, move them around, and you'll see it's really not that difficult. Again, once I get more familiar with remembering some of the different penalties, bonuses that I have, that part will get better as well. But that's just, I think, more of an experience thing. That's not a rules complexity thing. I watched a video where a person just went on and on about the complexity of the game with a lot of the unnecessary rules that it has. It really doesn't feel like that at all. When you're actually playing the game, it does not feel like a lot of unnecessary rules. And when you read through the rule book, a lot of the rule book is examples. In some cases, there's more examples than there are rules. So there might be like 2 paragraphs of explaining a particular rule, but then like 3 paragraphs of examples. So I think if you give this a shot, you'll be good. There's like 3 tactical systems I really enjoy right now. This is one of them. So I would like to play this more and share more with you. But again, please, if you saw other mistakes or want to reinforce things that I encountered on my own, please feel free to share. But I look forward to popping into scenario 2 and then seeing if that's got vehicle. I might just look through and find the next scenario with vehicle, or I'll just keep going. I think we'll just keep playing through the scenarios. So this was scenario 1 from Heroes of Normandy, and I look forward to seeing what else comes our way. Thanks for watching. Bye.